Thanks once again for dropping by the channel. If you like the content, if you're new to the channel, please hit subscribe, share the video if you enjoyed it, if you felt it was useful. Now let's get into this. So, it seems this whole Billy Joe versus Canelo fight, which a couple of weeks ago it seemed like it was a done deal. Then we didn't hear any announcement. Then we're hearing various stories coming out. We're still kind of hearing that now. We're hearing now that Team Alvarez have offered Billy Joe in the region of $8 million. So I think the actual amount was like 7.75 million, which is basically 8 million quid. So that's a career high payday for Billy Joe. I think that's a massively higher career payday than what he had before. If I'm not mistaken, I think the highest he was ever paid, now I'm not sure what he was paid for his last fight. I think the highest purse he ever got was, I think it was the Lemieux fight, which was in Canada. I think that was his highest purse. I think that was about $1 million, give or take, in around that. So he's definitely making a hell of a lot more money taking this fight, if indeed he takes it, and if indeed this fight happens. I want to just read out some quotes here, because Eddie Reynoso was at the fights last night. He was Canelo Alvarez's trainer, and he has said that they have declared that they have decided to fight Billy Joe next. So Billy Joe is the fight they want. That was with Ellie Setback. Eddie Hearn came out then and night at an interview and denied the fight is a done deal, but said that Reynoso told him the same thing last night, that they've decided to fight Billy Joe Saunders, and that looks like the route they're taking. If this fight happens, Billy Joe is going to earn in the region of, say, 8 million. So handy enough payday for him. And Billy Joe, judging by his Instagram story over the last few days, I can take it as one or two things. One is he's getting ready for training camp, and the footage we've seen of him eating nothing but garbage. Like, I've seen him eating burgers, pancakes with chocolate all over it. So either this is kind of one last binge before camp starts, or he doesn't have this Canelo fight after all. Because why are we now? We're at the 1st of March. So say he starts camp tomorrow, will be the 2nd of March. Essentially what you're saying is he's having a 2-month camp for Canelo Alvarez. Now I'm sure plenty of fighters out there do 8-week camps. For a fight like that, would you expect to be a little bit longer? Do you think they'd maybe try and do a little bit more? I know at the end of the day, Billy Joe is not the biggest super middleweight in the world. He could probably still do middleweight, and this fight will definitely be at super middleweight. They're not going to do it at middleweight. Why would they? There's no incentive. So if they're doing this fight, it's going to be at super middleweight. I assume that Billy Joe is probably not cutting that much weight to get down to super middleweight, because he really is a middleweight, truth be told. So probably could get away with doing stuff like that. But I just think it is a very short amount of time to be going from, binging to straight into camp. Now, saying that, Billy Joe seems to be in shape. He's not grossly overweight, so it's not like he's going to be, losing that much weight in camp. It's just interesting. It's just interesting because a couple of weeks ago, I think it was at the start of February, we were pretty much told that this fight was, more or less a done deal. More or less. Obviously, the weeks progress. We don't hear anything. We hear talk of Cam Smith, and that goes down because we hear he's turned down offers. We hear talk of Murata in Japan. I don't understand why. Canelo fighting in Japan wouldn't make any sense to me, but maybe he wanted a gimme fight. Maybe he thought it would make more money in Japan. We don't have that now. Obviously, Golovkin, no one really talks about him purely because they're looking to do that fight in September. I found it very interesting that they were saying that Caleb Plant turned the Canelo Alvarez fight down because, in his opinion, he didn't have enough time to prepare. And I rate Caleb Plant very highly. They said he didn't have enough time to prepare for a May date, but then I seen on Twitter that they were planning on a unification with him and Benavidez in April. So I was kind of like, what? So he doesn't have enough time to prepare for Canelo in April, but yet he has enough time to prepare for Benavidez, or Canelo in May, but he's enough time to prepare for Benavidez in April. Which kind of sounded a bit strange to me, but Al Heyman, who knows what goes on there. So it looks likely now we're getting Billy Joe versus Canelo, which is a fight that I wouldn't mind seeing. I think Canelo wins that fight. I think I'd stick my neck out on the line and say Canelo stops Billy Joe. Stops him late that night, but it's still a good fight. I think Billy Joe slick southpaw, some good angles. Billy Joe was a bit like Tyson Fury in a sense that he really needs to rise to the occasion to get the best out of himself. You see that with Billy Joe. When he fought his last guy, that guy was not that great, let's be frank. Now, he was a career middleweight, Argentinian, unknown, and that fight proved to be way tougher than it needed to be. Remember when Billy Joe fought that Akabov guy back the end of 2016, looked terrible in that fight. That was in a leisure centre. He was losing weight, took it on reasonably short notice, looked horrible in that fight. Then you see him against Lemieux in Canada, he looked amazing, looked fantastic, probably the best we've ever seen Billy Joe look. That fight, they had a perceived threat. You know, obviously he was away from home, Lemieux big puncher. So I think with Canelo, he's going to have that same amount of, you know, fire. I would imagine so. Although you could probably argue, I've seen some people saying that maybe Billy Joe is sick of boxing. I don't know about that, like, but you know, you got to wonder. You got to wonder. I think that it's a good fight if and when it gets announced. They want to get announced on it soon because we have literally 2 months from now until fight date. So if they want to get promoting this fight, they want to get a move on. They want to get this fight announced maybe this week and get the promotion kind of set in place, because you really are cutting short when you have 2 months to get this done. Because normally when we have Canelo's May dates, we have at the end of January, start of February. So I would imagine they're going to want to get a move on this quickly. Like I said, career high paid for Billy Joe, so it's a decent amount of money he's going to be taken home. Obviously, we're hearing Eddie Reynoso say it's done. We're hearing Eddie Hearn say it's not. At the end of the day, who knows? You could probably fast forward to the end of this week, it could be announced. So just remains to be seen. But yeah, those are my thoughts on this. Let me know what you think down below. How do you see this fight going? You know, Billy Joe versus Canelo Alvarez. How exactly do you see this fight happening? You think Billy Joe, I think I'm not giving him enough credit. Do you think he's going to win this fight? Do you think he will get the decision if he goes 12 rounds? Or do you think that, no, he'll beat Canelo convincingly? I think Canelo is a great fighter. I think he's one of the best in the world. And I don't know, I just think Billy Joe, he's missed his best years maybe. I know he's not old, but I think the inactivity, the blowing up in between fights, I think maybe he's missed a step. I think Canelo Alvarez, depends, I think he might even stop Billy Joe in this fight. So those are my thoughts on this. Let me know what you think down below. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe of course if you are new, and as always, I will talk to you after.